episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I am one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. Here we are again, talking a bit of Love Island on the penultimate episode of Australia Season 1. Where would you like to start today?
Well, Dave, I've got to say, it was all lovey-dovey today, and I'm not fucking happy because I want drama, I want fighting, I want punch-ups. This was like the UK Love Island in the last week, where we get like this a week of this. To be fair, they condensed it into one episode, but there wasn't really much going on, was it? They all went on dates. I do have something to say about the fact that Grant and Taylor seemed to be the ones who were in charge of the budget and had the best day. Everyone else seemed to get the scraps they could put together. It's like they just like found stuff in the villa and said, right, well, better give them these because and they'd run off with the whole budget because they were on a lovely yacht, very romantic, picturesque. Yeah, everyone seemed to keep themselves to themselves in this episode, didn't they? There was not a lot of them together. It was all about the couples, really.
Yeah, and I'm sure, Chris, there's loads of people out there who watch it for the lovey-dovey stuff. We're just not two of them. So, for us, it wasn't great, but it was a bit of a come down, wasn't it? But to be fair, Chris, in the UK seasons and some of the other seasons that we've watched, it's the whole of the last week, isn't it? All the drama's kind of gone out the house. Everyone who's coupled up is coupled up. And so we've had it for a little bit longer with all the drama. Now, I did pick up on a few little things. So in the whole kind of Millie and Mark aftermath, we get the bit of a fallout or the reaction to that. So Grant and Taylor made a point of telling Josh and Amelia that they're backing them, even though Grant was good friends with Mark. In fact, I thought it was quite funny how they said it. They said, like, Taylor is best friends with Millie and Grant, kind of knows Mark or is friends with Mark or something like that. I thought that was nice of them, to go out and say that. They didn't need to say that, but made a point of saying, we're backing you. And I tell you what else was interesting, Chris, the fact that Erin actually admitted that she probably went a bit OTT with the whole Millie thing and Eden, and the whole, don't come down those fucking stairs. Fucking Michael Caine, that, wasn't it? But what?
Peggy Mitchell. Get out of my pub.
Yeah. So, I mean, what did you make before we got into the day? What did you make of that and those little bits, those few interactions that we had?
I think, you know what, I've said it before about Erin, and I think he's genuinely a nice person in there, but the surroundings she's in, that toxic relationship with Eden, he's doing her no favours. And she's obviously been scorned and burnt before. She's obviously been cheated on. And that's where all that comes from. It's her own insecurities. However, obviously Eden didn't help it. And it's nice that she admitted that. I think it's also, Dave, she can admit it. If I was doing the flip of the coin, she's going to admit it because Millie's not there. If she wants to sort of make herself look good, you would do that sort of thing, wouldn't you? And say, "Oh, I think I was." So I'm not being a cynic because I do think she's been genuine. I really do. But it's also easy for her to apologise when Millie's not there because she just can't stand that girl. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then the validation for Grant and Taylor was nice as well. And like you say, Millie and that has been great friends with Taylor. So no, it all ended quite well. And to be fair, what you could say, was it nice because Millie wasn't in there? That's the other side of the coin, Dave. Is it because she just causes and shits theirs in there as well? She's as good as anyone. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it could be a reason. Sometimes when you know that in a group of friends, you eliminate somebody, or like we're in a band, you eliminate that person that's causing all the drama, and then it all goes nice, and you're like, well, there you go. We're not having any of this shit now. So we've been there many times.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what did turn a bit nicey, which I wasn't expecting. I mean, it was in a group setting, but actually Grant and Eden were in that group, around the pool, and they're saying about how well they know each other, and they seemed on the face of it, at least in a group setting, to be talking.
Yeah, I do think it's more Grant talking than Eden. Because when Grant and that were talking a little bit parts of it, you could see Eden just like not even acknowledging him as a person. So I'm hoping, look, I'm hoping at the end of this they became mates or whatever, Dave, because they did get on literally for 3/4 of the show. They were good pals. They were having loads of chats together, weren't they? I know the common denominator was they were like the proper loved up couples, but there seemed to be a connection there. So as friends, so I hope they don't lose that. I hope like whatever happens at the end of it, they do, they are pals sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think I called this one completely wrong. To be fair, I'll call myself out for it because I was saying after they had that bit of a scrap, that was it. It's all done and dusted. They've got it out of the system. It's done with now. But I do think it all traces back to that, doesn't it? It was when Eden was going for Taylor, and then Grant was saying nothing, saying nothing, saying nothing, exploded. you know,
Yeah.
it all traces back to that, and I think you know Eden just doesn't like to be challenged, does he? He thinks he's cock of the
No.
block, and yeah, I think he's ultimately held that against him since then. Because he ripped
Yeah.
all his shirt and everything, and I think he did put his nose out of joint a little bit there.
Yeah, yeah, I think he did. I think it's one of them, Dave, that when you are someone who's so dominant, if someone stands up to you, most people like that don't know how to react, do they? When someone actually, even Corey a few episodes ago, he wasn't standing for his shit.
Yeah,
He was like, "Don't think so, pal. I'm not standing for your nonsense, you fucking bullying ways." So I think that's what it was. They earned their position in the house out of love, and there was a bit of respect for them both because, like I say, you were at Team Eden for a long time, but just this last week to 10 days, it's just fell off completely for him. I'd be surprised if they win it, Dave. I would be because I just think that absolutely he's just an arse. He's bringing Erin down at the moment.
yeah, it's just like you say, that dominant personality. He's been challenged and ultimately doesn't like it. So we'll see. I'll be disappointed if them two win, to be honest. And I was right behind them in the first half of the series, but not anymore. Now, Chris, Dom and Shelby get the first date, and it's a good opportunity, as the narrator tells us, for Dom to get his ass out again. What did you make of that?
Um, I, I don't know. It was a bit strange. And a fucking donkey there at the side of him. I mean, that's not romantic at the best of times, is it? But I can't work him out, Dave. Dom's like just so fucking laid back. He just, I, I, I don't know. There's just something not right about him at all, as in the relationship with Shelby. Not as a person. I know I've called him out a few times. I just don't get it. I don't think there's anything between them two. I just think it's purely a tactical position to see how far they can get in the show. And obviously, we know by the end of the show, not very fucking far. We said they should have gone yesterday, and they did go. But I just think it's just a convenience thing. I think there's less chemistry between them than what you had with Millie.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not bought into this couple 1% at all. And obviously, at the end of the episode, they do go, and we'll do our wrap up episode, where are they now kind of thing, after we see the final when it comes out tomorrow. But I see nothing in this, and I think I don't know if they're both as bad as each other, but ultimately, in the lie detector test, where Dom lied 100% of the time, if you believe science,
Yeah.
for him then to be saying like, but you've got to believe what I'm saying. It's a bit difficult when it can be measured. You've proven that every word out of your mouth is a lie, and you're coming up with this bullshit. It's like, every time before I was answering, I was going like, it's just bullshit. So I don't believe it from his side that he's one bit interested in Shelby at all. And
No.
Shelby, from her side, she probably thinks, "Well, I've fucked up a bit here. I've got this lying toe rag who just is after a bit of nookie, after a bit of root." And see down there with the lingo there, Chris. you know,
Yeah, I noticed that, Dave.
she's just fucking got to remain. She's got no other options, has she? She either sticks with him or doesn't stick with him, and guarantee that she's going to be jettisoned from the villa. So I don't believe it from her side at all. She's giving it the whole. She's doing her best. She's saying, "Oh, this is the best date I've ever been on." What? Because you fucking, we're out in a table, a steel table in the middle of a yard, and a donkey came along. That was the best date. unless Chris, it's all on the cutting room floor. They've edited out all of Dom's fantastic conversation and all his witty one-liners that he comes out with, and I don't buy it from Shelby either. So yeah, you can tell I'm not on the fence with this one. And my prediction is, there is no way they would probably not even last all the way to the airport. That's my prediction for our wrap-up episode.
I think it'll be one of them when they've left with the suitcases. He's gone one way and she's gone the other. They've not even got in the same vehicle.
Yeah.
So
Quite possibly. Yeah, absolutely.
it's just he don't give a fuck, Dave. He'll be straight to the nearest nightclub or bar when this all wrapped up, I'm sure. But yeah, really strange. I mean, one thing I will tackle, Dave, is so say like we've had the dates. Grant and Taylor won an amazing yacht trip. Like I was saying, theirs was all done and dusted, and theirs was like the proper love story and everything. And they do seem genuine together. It really does seem genuine. I've not seen a lot between Evan and Eden, Dave, affection wise. Now, whether that's just clever editing, I don't know. But they've not been. I know the date went well, and there was a bit of thing, but just general affection around the villa doesn't seem to be the same as it was.
Yeah, do you think maybe they peaked too early? I mean, pretty much from they coupled up on day one, didn't they? And pretty much shagged on day two, I think it was, or when it was very early on, wasn't it? So, and they've been that fiery. They've had about 3 major blow-ups as well. So I wonder if that's got anything to do with it. They're talking the talk, aren't they, on the date, talking about moving to Sydney and whatever. And Eden's saying, I can't wait to meet your old man and this, that, and the other. But I don't know whether my judgment is impaired by, some of the distasteful behaviour that we've seen from this pair. But I'm just not really buying it.
No, I'm not. And I tell you what, Dave, it's funny, isn't it? Because there was the big, palaver, or as they call it, Big Blue yesterday, where obviously Mark and Millie went and Dom and Shelby stayed, and we were all in. That's discussing, and obviously Grant and Eden had the set to in that. But when you take a step back, and I know I've not been a fan of Eden in that, and what's kicked off, Mark and Millie would have just had another day there, wouldn't they? I said it was just purely like a day thing. It doesn't really matter, I suppose, who's there. If you're not in the final, it's better probably to leave before than it is to thingy. So, as much as I'm not a fan of Dom and that, I also believe that was probably when Millie and Mark went. It's only a day. They didn't miss anything. They missed a fake date they would have gone on. That's it. So, as a fan of the show, I think because they get so involved in the drama, like, it's disgusting what they did. I was slating them yesterday. Also, it's like, well, 24 hours you're gone. And we had this with the American one slightly, didn't we? Where the American one was filmed over a month. So it was 4 weeks worth of episodes. There was only about 21 episodes. And it wasn't enough to be invested in people. And there was certainly, there'd be evictions of one couple together. And you were like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Then the next night, like he or she'd get voted off. So you didn't have that emotional attachment of him sort of trying to get with someone else or trying to survive in the house. They were literally gone because they had like maybe a week of no one leaving, and then it was just a fucking carousel of new, old, new, old. So I think slightly that was a mismatch. I would have probably said Millie and Mark should have gone a couple of days ago, and then we maybe have had a couple of days of that. But just to leave 24 hours later, I hope I'm making sense. It's not the emotional investment I thought it was, even though I was kicking off yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it is just 24 hours. I'd, if I was in the villa, I'd want to hang around for the dates. They look like a lot of fun, and especially if you're Grant and Taylor, you get to go on some cool dates and have a little bit of money spent on you, so and get outside the villa. But it doesn't matter, like you say. I just think I could see more in Mark and Millie than I could in Dom and, well, anyone, to be fair.
Oh
But
God, yeah, yeah, I agree.
I think it just comes to that. It's that. But does it matter if they're fourth or whether they're fifth or whether they're fourth? It doesn't really matter. But to be fair to Millie, I mean, she said she feels like her journey's come to an end. It's complete, isn't it? So she's certainly left without kind of any regrets.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only slight bit of drama that we got was, Josh and Amelia got picked first to the final. Then it was the old text table tennis that goes on when they're doing it, different people getting different text messages. And then Grant and Taylor. So we're left with Dom and Shelby, Erin and Eden. And what I love, Dave, is Mr. Eden, we're going to win it. and he passed the lie detector test. And I think Erin's exactly the same. Her ass was twitching, Dave, when it went to them. She was looking over at Taylor and that just to say, "You bastards, we're not going to," because not that they're not going to win it or whatever happens, but it was just more. I love the come down of that because they've been so confident all the way through this, and I think maybe more Eden than Erin, but. I was like, yeah, this is how it feels. And it went to the vote, and obviously we lost Dom and Shelby, which was obviously, without 100% doubt, the correct couple to leave.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's weird to even get to the last 4 couples, and Dom and Shelby are still there. To be honest, it's just one of these freak things that kind of happens, isn't it? Sometimes with the way they choose to get rid of people at different times. So yeah, for me, it was obvious Dom and Shelby were going to go. It was good to see, everyone likes to see someone brought down a peg or two, just confidence-wise. So, yeah, that was good. But, I mean, let's face it, probably, for the final now, I think you're still looking at Eden and Erin and Grant and Taylor. I don't think we've seen enough on camera of Josh and Amelia. I don't know why. Are they just boring or whatever? They spend a bit of time, and obviously the having the old mariachi there playing his guitar. Again, the highlight for that date for me was the narrator. Making up what he's singing about. He's talking about the Spanish vicious fight against the vicious dictator Franco, and they're just treating it like it's all romantic. So I don't know. I think for me, here's my prediction, Chris. Right, Josh and Amelia will come third. Eden and Erin will come second, and Grant and Taylor will win out. And I think almost, you mentioned about the dates, the fact that Grant and Taylor had clearly a lot more money spent on them, I think they're the producers' favourites as well.
Cool.
So obviously you can't do a prediction with me because you know what the outcome, but that is what I'm going with right now. And I think Eden and Erin, as distasteful as I think they've been for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I think there probably are people out there, or there were, who still have enough invested in them to vote for them when it comes to it.
Yeah.
So there we go. Colours to the mast. Generally wrong on fucking everything, but let's see how we go. See how we go tomorrow night.
I can't wait. I just can't wait to talk to you about it all properly, especially when we do the Where Are They Now stuff, because there's some juicy tidbits in that, Dave, as well. So, yeah, we'll see on that one. And I'll make sure I've got the correct information before I throw it out there. But I know I've seen and watched all sorts when this happened.
First time for everything.
Fuck you. Right, anyway. If you want to contact myself and Dave, and don't listen to what Dave said, at cdrelaitycast for Twitter and Instagram, cdrelaitycast@gmail.com if you want to email in as well. So, Dave, last episode tomorrow. Let's enjoy it, and I think you will. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye now.